Hey everybody, I'm excited to get going again this week. I'm hoping to not sound like a broken record, but what I have on schedule for this week is about the importance of a daily practice in keeping your sketchbook, as well as about looking and about drawing from life. So I think this is that next transitional spot before we get into, in the following weeks, we're going to be getting into a lot more perspective, interior spaces, urban sketching, landscapes, all of those things. So I think it's just important that we just establish this drawing from life practice. And I think that will make you strong and confident as we go into these larger genres. Okay, so, and also with this, I guess one of the things I'm always saying too is that I want you to be passionate about what you are drawing. So that's why I keep it very open. And I wanted to work with for you and for your schedule. So what I thought I'd do a little bit this week is kind of take you through my schedule and a little bit about how I work it in daily, that practice of sketching. So I'm going to have some mini videos of that to follow this. But before I do, I just want to talk a little bit more about that, how to make this happen. So I have I think I've told you guys, but anyway, I've been a daily painter for a long time now. I'm working on 3,000, I don't know, 3,390, I think is where I am, or something like that, or close, of consecutive paintings without missing. And some of those are kind of sketchy little paintings, and some are, full out paintings. But mainly it's my little ones that I consider that, because it's something I want to complete and do and make sure I do as a practice, and not the paintings that I'm doing for work and for, school and things. So that little practice is something I've gotten so accustomed to that I can't go to bed at night if it's not done. And so I've held myself accountable, and I haven't missed. Even when I was like in a hotel room without any kind of supplies, I painted trees with my eyeshadow, things like that. So you can always make it happen. But the thing is to make it as easy as you can for yourself. So by having supplies at the ready, and we've talked about that, having a little corner set up, having some supplies in your car, or a little pouch of pencils or whatever it is that you want to draw with, that you just take with you everywhere in your car or your bag. That makes it easy. Then it's there. But the next step is actually to pull it out and do it. Actually, that's not the next step. There is a step in between, which is an important step. So as we're learning today about drawing from life and the importance of sketching actual from life, it's fine to take out your camera and draw from that too, or to go on the internet and find some really cool pictures to draw from. That's good practice as well. But drawing from life is going to help you see things in a different way, and help you to help your brain to make these pathways, help you to put down what you're seeing, help you to slow down. So there's all these benefits. You're slowing down for sure, and you're actually looking at things. And I know I've heard back from some of you that all of a sudden you're seeing things in a new way. And that's where I want you to be. So if you're not there right yet, that's okay, but start looking. So even if you don't have your pencils with you, even if you're driving on the freeway and can't possibly you can't possibly, well, maybe drive too, but maybe you can't possibly draw while you're driving, right? So, but you want to take things in, and you want to see things. And maybe how would you attack that in a drawing? What would be your focal point? So we're going to be talking a lot in the videos to come to, this week about focal points. And focal point is like, what is it first that captured your eye? So when you're sketching, it can be super overwhelming, and we'll definitely address this as we look at seascapes. That's what always comes to mind. I used to take kids to the beach to draw, and myself included, we will look and we'll say, look, oh my gosh, there's so much there. What do I draw? And try to draw it all. And it ends up like, not being specifically, it's not anything specific, and it's not anything that's captivating, and there is no focal point. And so it's nothing that's drawing you in, or so drawing you into your drawing. There's nothing there. Instead, we want to practice looking, and in practice looking, we're saying, what is it that caught your eye in the first place? So you're on a walk, Maybe you're not drawing because you're just on a walk, right? Nice to have a pencil and a sketchbook in your back pocket. But if you don't, that's okay. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go on that walk, and all of a sudden you see this tree that's in bloom or whatever with little blossoms, and something about that color contrast against the branch. Maybe it's and the way the sunlight's coming through it. There's something that just grabbed you, that got you excited and stopped you in your tracks. Pause, just pause, look at it. Imagine how you would draw it, how it would fit on your page. And this is what we're going to start looking at a little bit more, where we're thinking about composition. Not so much, you do composition, of course, in a formal drawing, but in sketching too, it's nice to have this focal point in the sketch, in your sketchbook, something that's going to be that important part. So that's what caught your eye. That's what you want to catch. If you pause, you're looking at that tree, you're seeing the sunlight come through, and you think, what would I want to do with this? Do I want to add color? Maybe, because the blossoms are so beautiful, but maybe not. Maybe you just want to see the light, the dark and the light, and that's what's catching you. That amazing way the light is shining and hitting the tree trunk and bouncing off of this one part or whatever. And that dark against light is captivating. That is usually when you look at paintings, when you look at drawings, any art, that area of interest is usually also your biggest area of contrast, the dark against light. And so being able to see these and recognize this is half the battle of sketching and drawing and painting, all of it. So slow down, look, and practice imagining how you would draw it. So even if you don't draw, and that's okay, I mean, we're still going to make this a practice of every day, but maybe at this moment in your day, you're not. That's fine. Still try to practice drawing it in your mind. Think about it. Let your mind go through the process of what would be your focal point. How would you put that down? What kind of mark making would you do? Maybe, would you do a pencil? Would you do pen and ink? Maybe charcoal? How do you see it? Envision it and imagine those marks and imagine the light and dark. Imagine your grayscale, right? Your values. See what you can see in that, and then continue on your walk. So you got to keep your heart rate up, right? So, but do that, and I promise you, when you go then to sketch the next time, every time you flex those kind of muscles in your brain, every time you're making those pathways of these decisions of how you would do it, even if you don't do it, when you go to do it, you're going to have a little bit more confidence. You're going to have a little more direction, sort of a roadmap of what to do. You're going to be practiced at seeing that area of interest. You're going to know that that's what you want to do, and that's how you're going to put it down. When I drive, I tell my painting students this, so some of you have been there in my class, but I drive Highway 5 quite a bit up to Northern California, and it's, a 9-hour drive up to my mom's. And you got to keep entertained, of course, podcasts and whatever, but I mix colors in my head. It's just this quirky thing I've done for years now. And I see the hillsides that are always changing depending on the season and everything. And I try to think, well, how do I paint that? Or I'll see the car in front of me. What color is that? How would I mix that color? So I'm always mixing these colors in my head, so much so that now it's like, it's completely second nature. I really don't have to think about what paint I'm going to grab, what colors I'm going to grab to make that particular shade. I'm looking at the hillside and the gradation of colors and the way maybe that the cloud even makes a shadow over it that's a different color. And what does that look like and how do I mix it? So since I'm always doing that, it's so easy now to just mix a color when I need it and not think about it, which, is the same in drawing. It's the same in sketching. You practice by looking, and looking is half of it or more than half. Practice slowing down and seeing what you're actually seeing. And then, when you have time and when it works, sketch. Now, it doesn't always work and you don't always have time, but make the time. That's my next encouragement. Sometimes you just need to make the time. Life is busy and crazy and hectic, and there's never enough time. And that's what I was finding when I was raising my kids and homeschooling and, helping my husband with his business. And just, I was pulled in so many directions. I was like, teaching, scout leading, all this stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, there wasn't time for art, but I had to carve that out for myself because that was something that was important to me. And you guys are all here, so it's something that's important to you. So carve out that time, a regular time. So once a day. And if you can fit in more, then fit in more. So once a day for 10 minutes, fit in another 10 minutes here or there. So that's what I'm going to show you throughout my day. It doesn't always happen this way, so I don't want you to be discouraged when it can't. But when I get at least that 10 minutes and do a little painting, even that big, I feel like I've treated myself and, I'm kind of worth it. So that was a hard one to come to. It's like as a mom and all the things that, all the roles that we take on, it's like we put ourselves last a lot of times. So, but, move yourself to the front of the line for a little bit for 10 minutes, maybe 15, maybe, you get the luxury of sitting for an hour. That's fine too, but every day. So every day work in something and you will just grow so much. I can't tell you enough how much your abilities and your practice will grow. So I'm encouraging you to do that. And in the next videos to follow, I'm going to attempt to show you kind of how I do it. So hopefully I'll be able to take this camera along and make it work, but otherwise we'll find a way. So as I plan this out bright and early in the morning. So good morning and good week and have fun. Email me or go into raise your hand if you have questions. I am happy to help. If you're feeling stressed over any of the work, please don't. I know I've had a couple reach out that were feeling they were behind. You're not behind. Just jump right in wherever we are, okay? And if you want to go back and look at lessons that we've done, then that's great. But if you don't, you don't. So it's really okay. Just, it's summer. Have fun and make this, a great and a positive thing. All right. Bye, everybody.